The entire Big Ten college football season comes down to 3 games that will decide the Big Ten championship. Of course, I'll tell you which games those are. That's next here on Locked On Big Ten.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Craig Sheeman. Coming up, we got updated win totals for our Pigskin Pick segment. We got Big Ten news all around the conference and the prediction business. The 3 most important games of the 2026 Big Ten college football season right here, right now. Look, I've studied the teams, I've studied the schedules, and I share your excitement for the entire Big Ten slate coming up. Can't wait for this season to get here. And by the way, don't forget, Locked On Big Ten will go live after the biggest games every Saturday during the season for my immediate, unfiltered post-game reaction, and yours too, in the live comment section. So hit that free subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on the fun. By the way, we just crossed 30,000. We hit the goal. Thank you very much. And while there are just too many awesome Big Ten football matchups to mention here on this podcast, I have a list of the 3 most important games on the schedule. I'm going to share those with you in just a minute. I'm not going to make you wait too long for these. But first, I'm operating under the premise that Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State are locks to make the college football playoff. And I expect Lincoln Riley and USC to cross that threshold as well. I also think Michigan, under first-year head coach Kyle Whittingham, Washington, who has been my disappointing sleeper team 2 years in a row, and Penn State, under first-year head coach Matt Campbell, given their favorable schedule, that they have a shot to make the playoffs as well. And I think numerous other teams around the Big Ten are poised for some pretty good seasons. Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, and Northwestern, just to name a few. Don't really want to leave anybody out, but I think all those teams will have some pretty good seasons coming up. Now, moving forward, while I think USC can and will make the playoff, I don't think they're going to win the Big Ten this year. All right. I think most of us think that this is a 3-horse race between Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State. A lot of us will agree on that, I think. Now, in case you missed the AP Top 25 poll that came out this past week, those were the 3 highest ranked Big Ten teams on that list, by the way: Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State. That surprised nobody. Although I did have an issue with the order. I talked about this week. Ohio State is 1, Oregon is 2. I would flip those 2. I think Dan Lanning and his Ducks have the most loaded roster on both sides of the ball. And I dedicated a podcast to the Ducks. If you Ducks fans want to check it out, that was on Wednesday. You can find it here on this channel. If you want to go find that for a second, listen when we're done here. I'd appreciate that. That'd be cool. I also have issue with Indiana being as low as number 6. And I addressed that on yesterday's Locked On Big Ten podcast. If you Hoosier fans want to go back and check that out for a second, listen. I think people are sleeping on the Hoosiers. I really do. Now, having said all that, my little rapid fire elevator pitch and my premise to today's podcast, the whole thing, I think that Oregon, of the 3 teams I mentioned, Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State, I think Oregon's in the Big Ten championship game. All right. They're gonna get a slot right here. I'm gonna put them in. I think it's gonna be a big year for them. Okay. Now, having said that, that now leads us to the first of my 3 Big Ten games I want to talk about that will help decide the conference championship. It's great. We got 1 big game each month: September, October, November. So the first one here, September 26th, Oregon at USC. By the way, the hatred and disdain of this rivalry, I think it's starting to approach Michigan and Ohio State, although not if you listen to Kyle Whittingham and Bryce Underwood lately, as they seem to think that that's just another game on the schedule. We've talked about that. I'll talk about it more later, but not here today. But this rivalry between Oregon and USC is actually extended from the field to recruiting high school 5-stars, the transfer portal. These 2 teams seem to be going after the same exact kids, and it's getting pretty heated. And even after a kid commits to one or the other schools, the other school then vigorously works to continue to flip them until signing day. I mean, it has been intense. So this game, this Oregon USC game, this cost Lincoln Riley a playoff spot last year when USC lost to the Ducks. And this game means everything to them again this year, especially if they want to make the playoffs. This would be a huge feather in the cap when a college football selection committee looks at their resume at the end of the year. I would even argue that this game is more important for USC than Oregon. And it's going to be a tough one for Oregon because it's on the road and it's at the Coliseum. And it's going to be a tough spot. But I put that game on the first game that's going to kind of massage what direction we're going and who's going to play in the Big Ten championship game. Now, on to October. Ohio State is at Indiana on October 17th. This will be the most expensive ticket in the history of football in Bloomington. And it'll be a rematch of last year's number 1 versus number 2 and a rematch of the battle for the Big Ten championship game. Ryan Day wants revenge. Kurt Signetti will want to maintain his view from the top. Now, the Hoosiers should coast into this game if you look at their schedule. They should be 6-0 going into this game. While the Buckeyes, they will have already been battle tested. Win or lose, they got that week 2 game against Texas. So they'll have that under their belt going into this game. Whether they're undefeated or have one loss, what have you, they'll at least have played that game. I mentioned earlier that I have already slotted Oregon into the Big Ten championship game. In my opinion, they will face the winner of this Ohio State-Indiana game in October for the Big Ten title game. So these are the important games that we're talking about. Now, finally, I do have one in November I want to look at. Let's head to November 7th. This is our third and final big game, if you will, that could massage who's in the Big Ten championship game or not. Just in case things aren't settled by this point, going into November, Oregon travels to Columbus to face Ohio State. And the Ducks may be in good shape heading into this one if they beat USC earlier. But the following week, they got Michigan at Autzen Stadium. And then, of course, they have their finale against Washington as well. So tough part of the schedule right there. Regarding Ohio State's schedule, this is the hardest one they've had in years. So the importance of this game may mean everything for the Buckeyes. Again, the Texas game aside, because it's a non-conference game, it won't harm them one way or the other or help them regarding making the Big Ten championship. Remember, Ohio State, they got back-to-back road games at Indiana and USC leading into this Oregon game. That is a tough stretch. You know, if I were doing a list of 4 games, I might have that Ohio State-USC game ranked in here too. So, they'll still have the rival game with Michigan 3 weeks later as well. But those are the 3 games I got. Oregon at USC, Ohio State at Indiana, and Oregon at Ohio State. Those are the 3 most important games of the Big Ten slate this year to help determine who's going to be in the Big Ten championship game. This is a prime topic for you guys in the comment section. So hit me up with your opinions on this list, whether I left a game off this list that you think is bigger, better. Maybe you think somebody completely different is going to be in the Big Ten championship game. I would love to hear from you here. This would be a great time to do it. So get that off your chest. Hit me up in the comments section. I answer those every morning, by the way. So I want to hear from you on all of that. I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. You YouTube viewers, hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten before anybody else, as soon as it's available each day. You'll also get alerts for when we go live on Saturdays for our post-game reaction. If you can also share, follow, like, and comment, that would be great. If you're on Apple or Spotify just listening, please hit that plus follow button on the top right. If you're on Apple, if you're on Spotify, that plus button to save. That helps other people find us and the algorithm, and it gets us out there. And we would really appreciate it if you do that. All of you, I invite you to check out our website, talkbig10.com, where we have every one of our podcasts we've ever done. They're all archived there, either chronologically or you can group by your favorite school and just go find it right there. That's at talkbig10.com if you want to check that out. All right, we're going to bounce around the league a little bit with some more Big Ten news. And then in our Pigskin Pick segment, we're going to reevaluate one more time the Big Ten win totals projected by those that do such things in Vegas. There have been a couple of changes since the last time we did this earlier in the summer, and this is our last look at it before we jump into the season. We got games the weekend after this weekend for Pigskin Picks. So that's all coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. want to tell you about the Game. Since 1986, the Game has been creating classic college hats that fans are proud to wear, whether you're an alum, a current student, season ticket holder, someone who just never misses a game. A great college hat is more than just apparel. It's a way to represent your school wherever you go, whether it's at the Game or around the neighborhood. This year, the Game is celebrating its 40th anniversary by giving fans a chance to save on some of the most iconic college hats. And if you've been thinking about replacing that old favorite one, get a new one, but maybe it still looks old because they got the old classic logos, it's the perfect time to do it. They sent me a couple. I've told you before, I'm an Indiana grad, so they know that. So they sent me, I got home and away. Look at the stitching on this. If you're on video, that is pretty cool. The white and the red, the Indiana, the Hoosiers logos, fabulous quality. And I look good wearing them out and about. And you know what? When you got the older logos like that, that tells everybody you're not a bandwagon guy. You're not just wearing Indiana hats, for example, because they won the national championship last year. No, you've been through the thick and thin from over the years. And you're a real true fan. So hundreds of officially licensed college hats to choose from, and you'll find the perfect fit for game day every day. Don't miss this chance to celebrate 40 years of the Game with 40% off your entire order. Visit thegamecaps.com and use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's thegamecaps.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Celebrate 40 years of the Game with 40% off. But don't wait. This anniversary offer won't last forever. Thank you for checking us out today on Locked On Big Ten. We're here every day. Are you? We call you everydayers if you are. If you're a once in a whiler, come back every day. We're here talking all 18 Big Ten teams with news, analysis, and opinion on all of it. Always appreciate you guys. So if you're from Michigan, or if you've ever walked into Michigan Stadium in the lower bowl, that part of it looks almost exactly like it did in 1955. But there are more changes coming now. Did you know that the Big House this is the 99th year for the Big House? They're adding some more advertising around there. Going to splash it with Coca-Cola and Meijer and Google Gemini, and they're going to add their signage, which can be found on the padding behind the field goals. Now the signage will appear on the walls surrounding the field and also on both sides of the big video scoreboards on the north and south end. So it'll be a bit of a different look, a little more color, if you will. Michigan Stadium, of course, holds 106,601 seats and is currently the largest stadium in the country, although, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, we may have to do a seat check at Penn State's Beaver Stadium when their $700 million renovation is done next month. And rumor has it their seating capacity may exceed the Big House for the first time. By the way, in case you are wondering, back to Michigan for a minute, the Michigan Athletic Department, they're getting all this revenue from advertising and whatnot. They are projecting a $297 million budget, or revenue anyway. They're projecting $297 million of revenue for the 2026-2027 season. And then, in case you're wondering, Michigan's name, image, and likeness budget for football is estimated between $35 and $40 million per season, as Coach Kyle Whittingham is projecting the cost of doing name, image, and likeness business next year will top, I think he said 2027. Yeah, 2027 will top $50 million per roster. How about that? Got another note on the Wolverines. Bryce Underwood, Rod Moore, Jordan Marshall, Trey Pierce, team captains for the 2026 season. Kyle Whittingham came from Utah. Utah is suing former assistant Freddie Whittingham. That's Michigan coach Kyle Whittingham's brother, in case you were wondering. I'm sure you weren't. The university says that Freddie abandoned his role as Utah's tight end coach despite being under contract until January 2027 so they could take the tight end coach's job at Michigan and work for his brother. Again, he wanted to move with his brother from Utah to Michigan. Now, Utah is seeking $300,000 for breach of contract and at least $1 million in damages because he did not get written consent to talk to Michigan when his brother got the head coaching job. By the way, he had a $525,000 salary at Utah, the assistant, not Kyle. So this sounds like somebody's just splitting hair. I mean, it's not unusual when a coach leaves, the whole staff leaves, and a lot of them will follow the coach to wherever they go next. That's all normal. It sounds like maybe Kyle Whittingham's brother didn't follow procedure or get something in writing, and now they're throwing the legal people at him. I don't know. I don't know what Utah's doing here. They should just let it go. Meanwhile, USC quarterback Jane Mayava is on the preseason Walter Camp watch list, as well as the Maxwell Award and the Warfel Trophy, all that, a lot of preseason watch list. Now, regarding the Walter Camp, he joins Big Ten quarterbacks Dante Moore from Oregon and Ohio State's Julian Sayin on that list as well. Mayava, big year last year, looking for an even bigger year this year. Threw for 3,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Also had 6 rushing touchdowns in 13 games. He was all Big Ten third team in 2025. A lot of competition at the quarterback spot in the Big Ten. Penn State, let's talk about them for a minute. Coach Matt Campbell, first year, getting ready to go. He updated the status of a couple of players, Tony Rojas and Max Granville, 2 good defensive players coming off injuries. And Rojas, redshirt junior linebacker, played just 4 games last year before suffering a season-ending knee injury. And redshirt sophomore edge rusher Max Granville lost his entire 2025 season, had a preseason injury, just missed the whole year. Both were limited in the spring, but both have had no restrictions. They're good to go for August practice. But it sounds like they're easing them into it a little bit. So far, Campbell likes what he sees out of both of these players, but he doesn't want to push it, doesn't want to rush them along. Both are going through the process of returning to full go. And it sounds to me like, look, everybody's just being kind of overly cautious, err on the side of taking it easy. But the Nittany Lions are expecting both to be big, exciting contributors to the 2026 season. All right, and I do have a basketball note for you. A couple days in a row regarding Michigan State. I was keeping an eye on who Tom Izzo is keeping an eye on. 4-star 2028 player Cole Kelly has scheduled a visit with Michigan State. He's a 6'7" shooting guard. Just shoots over everybody. He's from Illinois. But he's going to take an unofficial visit September 4th. That's the first weekend of the football season for the Spartans. Probably going to hang out and see all that. All right. If you are new here, thank you. We welcome you with open arms. We think we are the most unique podcast out there in that we did, in addition to covering the league, the conference, we cover all 18 Big Ten teams. A lot of podcasts will just cover one team, one school. We cover them all every day. All 18 teams with news, analysis of that news, and opinion on that news. We're not afraid to give you our opinion. We get yours, too, in the comment section. That is the best way for you to hit me up with your opinion. We also have features at the end of our podcast every day that are always a lot of fun. Mondays, we come out swinging out of the weekend with our top 10 Big Ten observations. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets on X. Follow us on Twitter at Talk Big Ten, by the way. And send me a tweet. Send me something. Comment. I'll put it on. Mention your name. Wednesdays, we like to power rank stuff. It's always different every single week. Thursdays, we take a look at the Big Ten Network, who we're not really affiliated with, but we have a lot in common with them. And we go ahead and highlight things over the weekend, like Big Ten Classics, some live action. They've been doing the football camps lately. We did that yesterday on Locked On Big Ten. And then Fridays, it's our Pigskin Pig segment. Now, next week, we're going to actually have games leading up to this in the offseason. We do a lot of win totals and projections and props and all that kind of stuff. Futures, Heisman's, all that stuff. So we're going to take one more look at the projected win totals of all 18 Big Ten teams as projected by the experts in Vegas. There have been 2 or 3 that changed. The lines have changed since we did this last. We're going to tell you who those are and what's going on and what we think about it. So that's next in our Pigskin Pig segment here on Locked On Big Ten, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a home run today, well, FanDuel's got something for you. They're giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. That's right. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick on who you think will hit a home run in their next game or any game. And if you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet. and a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another way to stay engaged with every day's games. Whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups or your favorite player across the league, every game has someone capable of going deep. And now you get the chance to make your prediction before the first pitch, right? I'm still patting myself on the back from the Field of Dreams game last week. I nailed it with Kyle Schwarber. He had 2 home runs, not 1, against the Twins. Tonight, Rays O's. Junior Caminero. I've been on him. I like him going against the O's Trevor Rogers, and we'll see if he can't put one over the fence. All right, so be all over it here on FanDuel. You ready to play your game today? Join the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a home run. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of MLB. Thank you for checking us out today here on Locked On Big Ten. It's time for our Pigskin Pick segment. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put these on screen. If you're on audio, Spotify, Apple, if you're on video, you'll see it here on YouTube. It's just going to list all 18 Big Ten teams, and they'll have the win totals, the projected win totals. And as well on all of that. So that was a lot of fun as we go into the weekend here. I want to thank you for tuning in to Locked On Big Ten. Appreciate that. If you could hit that free subscribe button and follow Locked On Big Ten, that helps us out as well. Don't forget, we have live podcasts on Saturdays after the biggest games during the season. That's a lot of fun. You can be a part of that too. If you're on Spotify or Apple, please hit the plus button. That helps us out, helps other people find us, and helps you as well. We're on Twitter at Talk Big Ten, our website, talkbig10.com, where we archive everything. You go back after this one all weekend long, just churn out a lot of Oregon, a lot of Indiana stuff this past week. If you're a fan of the Hoosiers or the Ducks, you can find more at Locked On Big Ten podcast there. Thank you for joining us. Have yourself a great weekend. This is it. This is the last weekend without football. I know the USC Trojans play next weekend. Everybody else is the next week. Season is finally here. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Sheeman for Locked On Big Ten. We'll see you next time.